to the place I belong, in my chair, fast asleep, dreaming of hot women. Should we get this thing started? Right, we should. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Arr. Greeting, greeting, greeting. Hello, one and all. Welcome. Welcome to the weirdness. Feeling a bit strange today. When don't I feel strange? Let's be honest. There's no way I could ever start a video with just your typical average Englishman. I'm way below average. All the way above. Depends what you want to, what metrics you use to do, to describe average. Certain things about me are extremely average. Certain things are exceptional. Certain things are awful. Which I suppose averages out in the end. Anyway, how is everyone? I need more caffeine. It's also bloody warm in here, so I'm going to open the back door as well. Get a bit of a breeze going. Here we go, back door open. I won't cook quite so much. There we are. So, hi replay crew. What have we got to talk about this week? Things we've got to get out of the way first. Same old, same old. I did mean to put a video out this week, but kind of forgot. Well, I got carried away watching endurance races, and they're rather long. So before you realise it, you're like, oh crud, I've got to go to work. And like 5 hours have gone by. Also been back to walking next door's doggo this week, so that's taken some time out of the days. Maybe if I hadn't walked it quite so far on Friday, I might have got round to doing a video. I've got many recorded, ready to go. I just keep forgetting to upload stuff. So apologies if you were actually thinking about maybe watching something. Pardon me. I think there's something like 700 other videos on the channel to watch. So yeah, at some point I will end up with more videos than subscribers probably. It's kind of a sad thought, isn't it? Oh, well. Nothing like realizing you're bad at something and just carrying on doing it anyway. I mean, it's not insanity, because although I may be doing the same thing again and again, I don't expect a different result. It's just always a nice surprise when people do actually watch something. It's even nicer when people actually turn up to live streams. We have one person here who is lurkifying, but there we go. Is there some kind of fishy con on this weekend, I think, maybe? Capstone, something going on. I don't know. There's so many of them, I get confused as to which one's which. They're all basically the same. Like any convention for any hobby. you go to one once and the rest of them are basically all the same. I can say that with authority. In fact, they normally go downhill because the first time it's all new and interesting. You're like, oh, not seen this before. Not, oh, this is new. This is new. Second time you go, you've probably met everyone that you're going to meet, and it's just all exciting. Oh, what's new this year? Oh, nothing. Hang on, you were trying to sell that last year. Then you go the next year, and you're like, oh, okay, it is exactly the same every year. Thankfully, I've managed to sort that out now. So the most I do is go to one, and I get out as quick as possible. So people, they also tend to be overpriced. I mean, I get that they've got to rent the place, blah blah blah, make money, all this stuff, but seriously, well, it's not quite as bad as concert tickets these days, given the prices I've seen for some of the Oasis and Coldplay tickets. I think, seriously, why would you pay that much to go see Coldplay? Go see Radiohead instead. They're a better band with better songs, and it's cheaper. Hello, Blackie Bird. I see you. You better not try and come in because I ain't playing Catch a Blackbird live on stream. Yeah. So what else have we been up to this week? Water changes, work, walking the dog, work, cutting brambles, work. Mary and I visited a relatively local church this afternoon. Didn't film anything. Definitely weren't alone. Something was watching us in the graveyard, churchyard, as we were wandering around there. Very pretty, but we were definitely being watched. And there was something inside the church that didn't want us in a certain part of the church. And I heard it following me out down the aisle. Heard the footsteps. And it wasn't just an echo of my own footsteps. So we got out of there then. Yeah, as I said, I'm watching endurance racing, watching the odd Karen video. What an interesting life I lead. Been some minor dramas at work, but nothing that actually affects or involves me, so I just stay out of those. Generally, I just stand back and go, seriously? You're grown adults. Tommy, how you doing, you spexy beast? I don't live for drama. I live for a lack of drama. Less drama is better. I mean, it doesn't make for an interesting stream when nothing happens. If you've had what most people would consider a boring week, when nothing exciting happens, then it's probably not the best. But, pardon me, speaking personally, I'd rather a boring week than an exciting one. Let's be honest. Oh, I burped and someone left. Yes, if you're new here, I do burp. I do drink energy drinks, and I do smoke. Not knowing what tomorrow brings is pretty exciting. Yeah, we can never know for sure what's happening tomorrow. I mean, I'm probably going to be walking Pippa in the morning, then doing some water changes, then going to work, and then going afterwards. But there might be something different happens in the middle. It might be a a famous actress comes into the store. Doubtful. And if it is a famous actor, I probably won't recognise them anyway. They're under the age of about 50. Well, I did have one kind of celebrity in the store this week. There's an Olympian who represented the UK. 2 or 3 sets of Olympic Games, I can't remember, but the Paralympics, and he lives locally, so know him anyway. So it's not some big, oh my God, it's Paula Radcliffe, or Bradley Wiggins, or someone like that. It's, all right, Danny, how you doing? Oh dear. This is the thing when you deal with famous people. Once you get to know they're normal people generally, and some of them can be a bit weird, but most of them are relatively decent, normal human beings. Once you kind of get over that, oh my God, it's such and such, it's just like, all right, how you doing? So I used to have most of the Norwich football team come into the shop when I was working in the convenience store. All right, how are you? Oh, well, yeah, but you are a celebrity, Pam. However, you are a celebrity artist. And, well, Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, as the Americans pronounce it. Van Gogh, weirdly, as the Brits pronounce it. But we use soon in Van Gogh. Similar, I can't do Dutch, but that's the closest. About to head to the convenience corner store that was a feed store. Yes, but here's the question. Do they call it quinoa or do they call it quinoa? Does it come in little bags or does it come in honking great big sacks? You see, I remember when it was called quinoa and was used as bird feed. Yeah, it was bird feed. No, it wasn't humans, didn't it? You gave it to your finch, or your little colony of finches. Yeah. But yes, artists are weird. Let's see, Tommy's an artist as well, so there we go. Definitely not normal. I'm no artist, but I'm also not normal. Like fermenting bird seeds, right? Yeah, exactly. But someone decided it was a superfood or something. Oh wow, it contains this, and then they basically add 2 zeros to the price of it. Someone gets really rich real fast, and somehow people still haven't figured out about quinoa. At least it's not like the people who mispronounce Niger seed. It's got to the point where they actually put it on the bag Nyjer, not Niger. Because yes, people were mispronouncing it quite badly. It's like they've never heard of the country Nigeria or the river Niger. Or maybe they have and they pronounce them incorrectly as well. That leads me down a whole thought line that I really shouldn't get into on YouTube about possibly where people might think the other N word actually comes from. Yeah, there's a possibility, I suppose. It might be might be the way, but I doubt it. Yes, and plus there is no such thing as a superfood. It's just food. It's just something they call it a superfood because it has a higher concentration of some vitamin or mineral than other foods do. No, it's just food. Just eat a balanced diet and you're fine. Or take the vitamins and supplements to make up for the fact that you don't eat any fruit and veg. Actually, I was watching something earlier. Apparently, the whole 5 a day thing isn't a thing in America because it's like a thing over here, at least, where getting your 5 a day is 5 portions of fruit and vegetables every day. I mean, I might manage that in maybe a month, if not two, because I try and avoid fruit and vegetables because of the effects they have on my system. But it's a thing like have your 5 a day. I mean, like, for example, Mary and I had some cream cakes earlier. They had raspberry jam on them. Or was it strawberry? I can't tell. Just tastes of red. Now, I call that one of my 5 a day. Apparently, some people say it doesn't. Well, yeah, it does. And it's actually going to be my entire 5 a day because chances are that bag of Cheez-Its I had for breakfast doesn't qualify as a fruit or a vegetable. And chances are the rice and well, rice is technically a vegetable, I suppose. I'm probably going to have tuna and rice for tea after this. Maybe with cheese and garlic mayo. I eat strange things. That's because I have a strange sense of taste. I had someone this week trying to tell me that I should get an air up bottle. Now, one of those water bottles where you stick like the pod in and they couldn't understand that not having a sense of smell means it just tastes like water. It is essentially just a water bottle. And it's also a massive rip-off. What are you worried about? A couple of calories from drinking an actual juice or flavoured water and saving an absolute fortune in the long run. Yeah. But it's reusable. Yeah, so is a normal plastic bottle. Those bottles that the water comes in, yeah, you can refill them with water many, many times. And if you're worried about the microplastics, then buy a metal or a glass thing and refill that. Exactly. Most things can be reused. I mean, hell, except yeah. I had to look twice when I started seeing recycled toilet paper for sale. I was like, hang on, pre-used? That don't sound good to me. Well, it depends what I've done with it. And if I just use it to like clean my glasses off, then I'll blow my nose with it afterwards. But yeah, once it's absorbed something that's liquid or solid, I
don't use it anymore. What could they possibly do to be able to reuse toilet paper that wouldn't destroy the old toilet? Yeah, exactly. It's not recycled paper, it's new paper. They just used old paper to make it, not cut down a bunch of trees, which are usually fast-growing fir trees or pine trees, which are planted purely for the purpose of being harvested rapidly. It's not like they're using oak or mahogany to make toilet paper with, or paper of any description. Well, maybe posh art paper, but that's a different matter entirely. Let's be honest, toilet paper is probably made out of the cheapest wood pulp available. Sorry, second cheapest wood pulp available. The cheapest being newspapers. They're getting worse and worse. You can't even eat chips out of them anymore. Be down for using hemp toilet paper. Super quick and easy to reproduce crop that grows much quicker than trees. It does. Hemp is a very useful material, and we used to grow lots of it. All the ropes from the Royal Navy back in the Age of Sail were made out of hemp. All the ropes used in farm machinery, a lot of people's clothes, paper, blah, blah, everything else. But someone figures out that on certain strains of it, you can have a good time if you start burning it. And, oh, we can't have that anymore. Quick, make it all out of plastic. Please. Yeah, our first president, I suppose free land, yeah, grew his own crop. Exactly. I mean, let's be honest, you probably do have to be fairly high to want to be president of America. On a semi-related note, there's a YouTube channel called We Rate Dogs. Yeah. And basically, they go walking. They go on a dog walk with a celebrity, let's say, a famous person. And I saw one yesterday, I think, where it was Tim Walsh. Now, I mean, leaving the politics aside, right? We'll forget the politics. Left versus right, black versus whatever you want to call it, Roe versus what, I don't care. I have my choices, my leanings, but we'll leave that out of this. You know what stood out to me? Was the fact that all the dogs they encountered on that walk came straight up to him for fusses. They were like, when? Fuss, 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 fuss. And I'm like, yeah, dogs trust you. I trust you. Burb. Running to get to feed for the burbs. There you go. Yeah, it's I did hear somewhere that Donald Trump was the only president to not have a pet. I mean, obviously, he probably thinks of some humans as pets rather than animals. But yeah, that says a lot. You don't like animals? Sorry, don't like you. The only reason you wouldn't like animals is if they don't like you. I'm not a fan of horses because they don't like me. I have no idea why. But they're tasty, so I leave them be. I'm no fan of spiders. I mean, the amount of them I've killed over the decades, you'd think they might have learned to be scared of me by now, but apparently not. As I woke up yesterday morning, there was a false widow making a web above my bed. Wake up, look up. What the hell? There's a false widow. Yeah. Oh, great. I know their bite's not that dangerous. It's like a bee sting kind of thing, but given how I've discovered I'm allergic to more and more things as I get older, I'd rather not find out. So it got smushed. Very smushed. Between two shoes. We're talking clap. Hey, at least it was quick. I assume painless. Oh, we have more people turning up. Come on, peoples, if you're here, talk to me. I'm not that scary. Oh, pardon me. Getting older sucks. That it does, my dear Pam. That it does. I mean, you'd know better than most of us, obviously. Do you get your advice from Bob still about getting old? Howdy, gold prospecting at Scotland. Yes, I know the chemical symbol for gold. Always believe in your soul. Sorry. I'm not going to go near that joke, Pam. We might be in different continents, but I ain't going near that joke. Yeah. I never thought I'd live this long, so I wasn't prepared for it. You and me both. I'm looking down the scary end of things starting with a 5. At least Mary gets there before me, so I can get a bit of a warning about what's going to happen. The growing facial hair bit I'm good at. I've got that down pat. The hair falling or disappearing from the top of the head and sprouting out of the nose and the ears and the eyebrows, I'm used to that. So I'm guessing it's just going to be more general pain. You're lovely, Pam. Wouldn't have you any other way. I'm probably going to get in more trouble for saying you're lovely than I would have done for the 69 joke. Feet swell up, allergic to living, and everyone thinks I'm a sweet old lady. Well, I'm not. I know you're not sweet. Well, you like to make out you're not, but you are really. More ornery, I think, really. An ornery old lady is what I would probably go with. Tim, the only guy in politics you like. He just seems like a normal person. Loves his kids, loves his wife, loves his dog. Other people like him. Kids like him. That's also another sign. If kids don't like you, then no, I mean, kids can sense these things. It's, yeah, would I trust him as a politician? I mean, I just don't trust politicians. Full stop. Um, it's the way that politics works is they go, oh, look, shiny thing, shiny thing, shiny thing, shiny thing, yoink. So you're concentrating on that tax cut or something over there, and then they put up the price or put up the tax or take something else away down here without you realizing, and then you're worse off than you were before. And you're like, oh, I didn't, oh, you screwed me anyway. It doesn't matter which party, which side, left, right, middle, further left, further right, Monster Raving Loonies. If you're not familiar, look up Monster Raving Looney Party. They are actually one of our political parties. They go, oh, don't vote for them. Oh, they're going to take away this, they're going to take away that. And then they take away something else. It don't really matter. I mean, in, how shall I put it, less adversarial kind of politics, like we do have slightly less adversarial in the UK. It's starting to get more Americanized, where it's the whole us versus them, left versus right, despite the fact that it's slightly left of centre versus slightly right of centre. And it always makes me chuckle, well, internally, because it's not worth an actual external chuckle, that it's like claimed that the Democrats are a left party and the Republicans are a right party, and it's like, no, they're both actually right wing. Just one is more right wing, and then the other one, one takes slightly more inspiration from 1930s Germany than the other one does, but you know. Yeah, you don't have a left-leaning party. What you call liberal, we call right wing. But you know, different countries, different systems, different ways of doing things. I saw an interview with Jon Stewart and Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London. And Jon Stewart was kind of shocked that our election took 6 weeks and cost each party at most, because it's capped. Like, you can't spend more than this. It's capped at 35 million for your campaign fund. And from the election being called to being completed was 6 weeks. Oh yeah, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I forget which movie franchise that comes from, or it might have been a quote from someone like Nietzsche that got reused in a movie. I think it might be Nietzsche. Nietzsche, maybe Pinter. No, maybe Plath. No, it was a dude. Can't remember. Came from one of those philosophizers. One of those people that back in the day, when you used to be able to make a living from just thinking, actually get quite rich off just thinking and telling people what you were thinking. An English classic historian, possibly. I don't know. It came from some. I think I've heard it in a movie or a TV series or something, but it came from prior to that. I don't think it was Sun Tzu in The Art of War. Well, the amount of things that get quoted from The Art of War, the amount of things that get quoted is probably more than the actual size of The Art of War. It's not a big book. It's more of a pamphlet, really. But it gets quoted in bloody every movie almost these days. If they made Love Actually 2, they'd probably try and shoehorn it in. Same way as they tried to shoehorn black dwarves into the Rings of Power. Huh? What? How does that work? A species that spends all its time underground, why would... I don't know. I'm not going to go on about the wokest movement about everyone has to be represented equally. No, they don't. It's down to the story and whether it makes sense. It'd be like filming a biography of H.P. Lovecraft, having it star Morgan Freeman or Denzel Washington. Both amazing actors who could pull off the role, but actually, I think I'd probably watch it just to see him in whiteface. I'm just seeing Denzel Washington in whiteface doing H.P. Lovecraft. Oh, that would be epic. How many people would get up in arms about that? That could be an interesting movie, though. Or docudrama, I suppose. The life and times of H.P. Lovecraft. That would be a very strange movie. Definite unresolved mummy issues. And I don't mean the kind of mummy that walks around with its arms out like that, wrapped in bandages in Scooby-Doo cartoons. Oh dear. Where am I going with this? I know I'll put in a description. It'd be a weird rambling waffle. It reminds me I need to stock up on toilet paper. I think you can still buy the toilet paper with Donald Trump's face on it. Although whether you'd want his face that close to your nether regions is another matter. I reckon the reason he got angry about that was because he didn't think about it and he doesn't make the money from it. Don't really want an orange butt. Yeah, you don't really want to look like a baboon, do you? Baboon, buffoon, yeah, either or. Both are applicable in that case. You got toilet brush. Just rub his hair in the skiddies. Yeah, that'll do the trick. Just make sure you eat plenty of chicken curry, and then it'll come out the right colour for the skin. I'd recommend probably a korma. Oh no, sweet and sour would be a closer colour approximation. Oh, sneezing coming. Double check. No, nothing came out. We're good. Ooh. There's still pollen around. Do you believe it? By now, but there's still stuff flowering. I mean, there's lavender out the front is still in full flower. That should have finished a month ago. The brambles I'm chopping back in the back garden, they keep reflowering again. High pollen count, yes. It should not be pollen around at this time of year, especially at your altitude as well. It's breezy as well, so it shouldn't be around too much, but weird. It's been a strange year weather-wise, though, in the UK, so yeah, kind of makes sense. We had a very, very long, very wet winter. I said the first time we had any real dry spell was the start of May. And then it basically rained the rest of May and into June. And July and August and September have been not too hot and dry, but no, there's been plenty of wet in between the hot and dry bits. There was a freeze alert tonight, and it snowed in August. We have had a frost here already. There's only a minor ground frost, but I certainly noted when I woke up in the morning and went to walk the dog. Went to go out in my shorts and t-shirt like I had the previous day, and I was like, yeah, this isn't particularly warm. I think I should possibly have put a fleece on as well. Sun was out, so soon warmed up. And also, well, I would say walking warmed me up, but not at the speed that Pippa walks at. I mean, she goes at a decent pace, decent pace in between sniffing spots and piddling spots and pooping spots and just stopping and looking around spots, which is about 6 feet in between them, I think. It was 36 when you woke up this morning. Yeah, that's close to freezing. That's a definite time to start spraying some de-icer on the well, no, de-ice is probably a bad idea. Putting some grease around the door frame and the seals, because that'll stop it freezing solid. Well, for a few more days anyway, until it really gets cold. Trick I learnt living in Wales. It's just smear grease around the rubber seals around the door, and it stops it freezing. Works in cars too. Just problem is when you get in and out, you tend to grease on your clothes. Also helps keep the water out of the seal as well, which is probably why it stops it freezing. Life hacks brought to you by Sharpe. Yeah. So, was I correct in my assumption there's some kind of fish con on this weekend? I notice it's been fairly quiet. Well, I've not exactly been hunting fishy videos, so there might be a whole heap of Aquashella, Clash, Com, whatever they're called these days. No idea. Fair enough. That's how it's weird. I think it's possibly because I now have a different sleep schedule, read a more normal sleep schedule, and most of the people that I used to watch and join in the streams and what have you either don't stream anymore or they stream when I'm fast asleep or at work or doing other things. Not the times when I'm sitting there going. I mean, even Graham on a Friday night, because I don't get home from work till well past 8 usually, and then I've normally got a few bits to do and get something to eat, and by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, I'm not really in the correct frame to be joining in a live stream. So with Andrew on a Saturday, if he goes live at 7, I'm not getting off work till gone 6. Then I've definitely got chores I need to get done, so I normally miss those as well now. Although this week I might be able to join in. I think I'm off Saturday and Friday and Sunday. Wow. Yeah, I'm working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which isn't fun, but means Friday will be mostly spent asleep. Because Monday, Tuesday I'll have to get my water changes done. Wednesday I'll have to go shopping. Thursday I'll have to do my other shopping. When you have 2 supermarkets in town and they're different brands, so one sells one thing, one sells another, and one is more expensive than the other, so you try and get as much as you can from the cheaper one, but certain things from the cheaper one aren't good, so you go to the more expensive one for those. It's fine, but yeah, it just means you got to go out twice and people twice, and when your job involves peopling, it's too much peopling. Especially when a lot of the peoples you meet when you're out and about are peoples you would also interact with at work. Customers is the correct term, I believe. Although I usually add an NT in the beginning of that. We did have a visit from the police at work this week. Thankfully, it wasn't anything we'd done or that had happened to us. It was just wanting to see our cameras to see if we'd caught any evidence of something going on, but it was throwing it down with rain at the time, so you couldn't really see much. But yeah, it's always that thing where a policeman walks in, you're like, uh-oh. Your brain instantly rushes through anything you may have done that might have been slightly dodgy, even though I haven't done anything slightly dodgy for a long time. You're thinking, oh no, did I cut up a policeman on my bike? did someone close past me and the police saw it and then they followed me to work and they're asking if I'm going to want to give evidence? Nothing of the sort. So I was just polite. Oh, good evening, officer. How can I help? Yeah. Very unlike me, I know, but it's back to that split personality thing. If we have our public dealing with people at work personality, and then we have our actual personality, where 9 times out of 10 we just tell them to F off and die. Work late, so please come in all the time for coffee. Donuts? Last place I worked, yeah, we saw them more regularly. Something. Not the police much, it was usually the ambulance service. I'd come in and grab some sandwiches and a drink. The Squire of Seahorses is here. Captain Hippocampus himself. How you doing, Rainer? Sometimes come in for a sting. Yeah. And so the underage selling laws is always one that you're a bit nervous about. Because generally it's usually pretty obvious if someone's 18 or older or not. But there's always that possibility that you might have missed one. A few new tanks in the living room. Sweet. I've not really got anywhere to put any more, and I really don't want to be bothered doing more water changes. Coming in plain clothes, have someone real close to being old enough to buy cigs. Yeah. Most larger companies in the UK actually employ underage people because you can work at 16 and the legal age for buying most things is 18. So there's that 2-year thing. So it's usually college students, 16 to 18. They will employ some to just go around and try to buy things that are age restricted, and then you catch them because yeah, you get sort of a nose for it, and also you tend to learn what they try to buy. Because it's usually something that is obvious that it's a restricted age item, so it'll be a knife or solvents or something like that, rather than like a chainsaw or a hedge trimmer. Yeah. Generally, if someone's buying a big power tool, you're not going to worry about the age, because how many 16 and 17-year-olds want to go out and buy a chainsaw and spend a couple of 300 quid? Probably not. Bottle of super glue, what we call a Stanley knife or craft knife, utility knife. Yeah. So we have the convenience stores sell ciggies and booze, and also energy drinks are age restricted in the UK as well. So you have to be 16 to buy these. Kind of understandable, because kids should not be needing caffeine to operate. I've had a few funny ones where it's just like, why are you even trying? I remember during the COVID lockdown, and it was children under 12 didn't have to wear a mask, and it was, energy drinks 16 and over. Excuse me. Had a lad come into the shop. Excuse me, put your mask on, please. I don't have to wear one. I'm under 13. Okay, fair enough. Then comes to the counter with a can of Red Bull. I'm like, dude, seriously? What? You got to be 16 to buy that. I am. Well, you just told me you were 12. Oh. Seriously? I just put it back and bugger off. Although, in a sadder note, I remember when the age of for cigarettes went up from 16 to 18. Oh, he's spoken chat again. Jeremy spoken. Yeah, sorry, we've got to do that every time. But yeah, the age of for cigarettes, tobacco products went up from 16 to 18. And it wasn't like a gradual thing. It was like on Sunday, if you were 16, you could buy cigarettes. On Monday, if you were 16, you couldn't. Kid about 12 wanted a vape, told him he wasn't old enough, and told me he was a midget. Yeah, because you can't really judge your guessing of people's ages on their height. So if you did that, then you'd think Peter Dinklage was about 8, and he's nearer 60. Yeah, auto carrot is always on a rager. All is well, as well as everything ever gets. So I need to see midget ID. Oh, I bet that went down well. Mind you, 12-year-olds are probably petrified of you, so there is that. Yeah, so the smoking age went up. And I'd gone in on the Monday morning to get some baccy. And there was a young lad in front of me in the queue wanting to buy a pack of cigarettes. And got sorry, you're not old enough. Like, have you got ID? Yeah, you're not old enough. And he's like, what do you mean I'm not old enough? I'm 16. And he's like, yeah, law changed overnight, mate. You can't be 18 now. Like, poor bugger, look on his face. I was tempted to buy him a pack, but nah. Probably best not to. I did make sure that when I got outside the shop and he was stood there with his friends that I rolled one and lit it and walked off. It's like when you see that group of kids, teenagers, hanging about outside the supermarket or the off-license or liquor store, and you just know that they're going to ask, can you get us some? And it's either booze or cigs, one or the other. Always went with her, what are you talking about? I showed it to you yesterday. You really going to make me go and get it? Most of the time, yeah. Thing is, I never got asked for ID when I was underage. It was only when I was old enough that people started asking for it. That might be more a sign of my age and the times. Because I remember when I was a little child, like 5 or 6, being sent to the shop with a note from my mum or my dad and handing it over to the shopkeeper, and then him giving me the cigarettes. And no, that's not how I started smoking, by faking my mum's handwriting. I did that anyway. Got me out of a lot of trouble at school. Well, not at school. It got me out of a lot of trouble outside of school. Uh, you know, you get given a letter to take home for your parents. Well, that means I'm in trouble for something, because I know I've been in trouble for something. So this is probably going to be a letter telling my parents what I've been doing. They're going to be expected to sign it, and then I take it back to school to say that they've acknowledged that what I did was wrong. Well, when your mum's signature is really easy to fake, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I got in trouble for that my parents and foster parents never had a clue about. Yeah. Then we got to college, and it was like, oh, what? I can sign my own signets forms? What? How does that work? So I can just take a day off, and then all I've got to do is sign a bit of paper that says I was ill. Oh, right. Fair enough. Bye. Second year, I should have just handed one in at the end of the year. It said I was mostly ill. How you doing, Sammy boy? I've nearly found your hiding place out the back. There's not a lot of brambles left, or nettles. You're gonna 26 months. Woohoo! That reminds me, I do need to put that second tier in at some point. I will get around to it. Possibly. I'll remember at some point. Probably doubtful, really, to be honest. My memory. I can't remember what I was talking about 5 minutes ago, so remembering to do something in a week or two, not happening. That's why I wear a name badge at work. It's not so customers can know who I am. It's so I remember what my name is, because I just got to go, oh yes, John. Oh, and I work there, right? Yeah. I can remember stuff that there's no rhyme nor reason why it's in my head. And then stuff I need to remember, I forget instantly. Like yesterday, I needed to remember that when I did the shopping that I had to get sugar. What happened? I bought a bunch of other stuff that I didn't really need. I forgot to buy the sugar though. So when Mary and I went to visit Kenninghall Church this afternoon, kind of had to stop over at Kenninghall Village shop so I could buy a bag of sugar, so that Mary could have sugar in her coffee when we got back. To be fair to me, I don't have sugar in drinks because I'm drinking fizzy all the time. I don't have breakfast cereal, so I don't have sugar in that. I don't do baking, so I'm not using sugar for that. So literally, the only thing I use sugar for is to put in Mary's coffee once a week. So it's kind of understandable that I might forget that, but still. At least I did remember to buy cakes and milk, though, so it wasn't a complete loss. And have I basically eaten everything else I bought? Yeah. Oh, thank you very much, Tommy. That means a world. You are now my member. I always thought you were a member anyway, Tommy. Oh, come on. They can't have member in there and then not, expecting me to not make a joke about it. Come on. It'd be like me going on holiday to France and visiting the town of Brest and not making a joke. It's, it's going to be, the resist. I just can't resist. Good morning, darling Deli. How you doing? Good day, even. Not gonna lie, of all the places on the world to visit, France would be last on my list. Yeah, fair enough. Understandable. Uh, yeah, when it comes to foreign countries, I can get the train to France. Not working thing is sweet. I agree. This is why whenever I find myself out of work, usually because I've quit lately anyway. I've never been fired. It's always been quit or made redundant. Um, yeah, I'm normally out of work for many, many months because I enjoy not having to work. 3 months ago, I barely weighed 170. Today, I'm 190. Right, well, I'm 6 foot. Let me go jump on the scales. Ooh. Right. Ooh. So that's me on the scales. They fired you, but provided no paperwork and you still access the staff portal. Ooh. Can't look at my reflection without. This is why I have covers on all the mirrors in my house. Because I don't want to see my reflection. Shown on a special website. Right, let's do the conversion. Times 2.26. I'm £195. So, yeah, I've got what I call a 2-pack. Instead of vertical, and it's just horizontal. Told by a paralegal liquidating half the brands. Yeah, just trying to, yeah. Basically, they're not doing very well at the moment. And if they fire people, they don't have to pay them redundancy money when they close the stores. And claim unlawful termination, but it is costly. Yeah, that is the problem with any of those. About the same weight. Barely stretch cup. You got that much over me, about 4 inches, 100 mil. I'm just centre dense. Should we put it that way? Although there's a lot less fat on me than there used to be because of the cycling. Now I want to get on a machine that measures body fat, competition, doing the numbers. Yeah. Ignore the numbers, and also ignore the BMI. Not much for a bone at 4 inches. Yeah, well, I did have that accident where I had to have 6 inches taken off the end. I'm just saying, someone should have told me about pufferfish beaks. It's a modified scale, sends electric current, and so basically a giant TDS pen. Yeah, the BMI basically they've proven means nothing. May not touch the bottom or hit the sides, but anything at 100 mile an hour feels good. At least it wasn't a parrotfish. Yeah, true. Or a carp. Still can't believe that lad did that, and his mate filmed it. Yeah, it's the obsession with numbers when it comes to weights and fitness and what's your max heart rate? What's your VO2 max? I don't care. I'm nearly 50. I work with people who I'm old enough to be their grandfather that I'm fitter than. Right? When I go to see my doctor, he's not going to be concerned about my weight. I mean, he might be concerned about my blood pressure, the fact I've been smoking for 30 odd years, the fact that my skeleton has fallen apart, probably diabetes, whatever other issues I've probably never bother going to the doctor about. My weight and fitness is probably not going to be the thing he's going to complain about. Yes, I could still stand to lose, I don't know, 20, 30 pound, 10, 15 kilo, but I don't particularly want to. Oh, pardon me. Yes. There's got to be a nevermore joke there somewhere with the raven. Is it tap, tap, tapping? Gently rapping at your chamber door? Oh, yeah. A picture of a raven. Oh, sweet. Still fit enough for a military desk job. Yeah, they probably still wouldn't have me in the military though. Tried that when I was 18. They didn't want me, and I was extremely fit back then. Sleep's been all screwed up trying to get back normal. Yeah, that is the problem. When your sleep cycle goes wonky, trying to get it back to normal is a nightmare. So you've got all prettied up to go on your live stream, open the Raven, and then you didn't stream. Oh no. Well, you know what that means, Sam. You got the channel. Time for an unboxing video. Going to bed in the afternoon, waking up around 11. that can be my issue. If I have a bad night, I'll then have a good nap the next day, usually. Maybe double nap, so a morning and an afternoon nap. And when I say nap, they can be 2 or 3 hours, depending on how much sleep I missed at night. But then, of course, that means that the next night I then don't sleep very well because I've had plenty of rest during the day, and then it just ends up getting worse and worse. So I find having a nap fine, not a problem. Even having a double nap is fine, if it's just because I fancy a nap, or I've been watching lots of Nightwish videos and I fancy having a dream about Floor Jansen. But try magnesium with Valium works. Getting home for a while, getting it all during the night, have a nap during the day, I wake up. Yeah, so we're all different. But yes, once you get out of sync, getting back in sync is a nightmare. I had that issue several years ago where it just got so badly out of sync. And the problem was I was working full time, so I couldn't have a nap during the day. So I'd wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, go to work for 8, be an absolute zombie most of the day, get home, still be zombified, have something to eat, fall asleep in the armchair, wake myself, wake up at sort of 10, 11 o'clock at night, go back to bed, go to bed, sleep for a couple of hours maybe, and then again wake up at 2, 3 in the morning, and it took me, it was when I buggered my wrist up. That one that's still actually playing up at the moment. Because I sprained it seriously and then carried on unloading a container with heavy boxes for the next hour before I decided, yeah, this is really starting to hurt. I probably should go see a first aider. Please put it in the first aid book. Yeah. The doctor took me off for 3 weeks and says, come see me like a couple of days before it runs out and we'll get you another note if you need it, because this could take months to heal. Yeah, so that gave me 3 weeks off work in which I did manage to get my sleeping patterns back to normal. Then I went back to work after 3 weeks and I was like, yeah, that'll be fine. Did a day and a half and I was like, yeah, it's not fine. It's still screwed up. And it is still screwed up. Don't know if you'll know this, but in my other life that I lived simultaneously with this one, Sam and I are life mates. Oh, definitely. There's not enough doll to show where he's touched me. Yeah, Sam is the sub. He might look like a dom, but he's actually a sub. That's why Sam's other personality lives in my back garden. I mean, he must be hiding up underneath the nettles in the corner there, or in the holly tree. Oh, the holly and the ivy, when they are both full grown, the council complains and you have to cut them down because they shouldn't be in your garden, or something like that. Well, actually, it's not the council that complains, it's the Karen dude that lives over the back that complains. Being Tommy's, well, everyone's Tommy's little spoon apart from Whip. Everyone's short than Tommy, I think. Mighty powerful direct sense of manhood. Is that what you call your foreskin? Is it your manhood? Not even the replies on that one. Bearskin tactical manhood. Is it just me that gets absolutely overrun with those bloody adverts for the bearskin tactical hoodie and the bearskin tactical jacket? Okay, it's a waterproof hoodie that's warm and a waterproof jacket that's warm. What makes them tactical? Is it just that they got lots of pockets? In that case, a tool belt is tactical. A pair of cargo pants is tactical. Well, actually, yeah, they do come from the military. Maybe that's a bad example. Having pockets does not make things tactical. Having pockets just makes it men's clothing, not women's. So, why do women store their phone in their bra? It's because they haven't got any pockets. Generally, all the stuff that us guys just stuff in our pockets when we go out the door, women have to put in a bag, which is just wrong. Why can't women have pockets? Oh, it will ruin the line of the clothing. Who cares? I mean, the designer that successfully designs women's clothing with usable pockets and sensible fitments and sizings, they'll get real rich real fast. You get commercials of female hygiene products and condoms. Yeah, from what I've made of, yeah, I get the feminine hygiene products, and I get the irritable bowel syndrome ones as well. Do you suffer from bloating and trapped wind? Okay, Google. Right. You're taking your algorithm or whatever is taking. Oh, he talked about this in a video, so therefore he must want to see adverts about this. You may notice I don't suffer with trapped wind. I just have wind. It comes out. Girlfriend had pants with pockets. His name was Brian. Yeah, I have no idea how badly wrong that algorithm gets with targeted advertising, because it's never adverts for anything you're actually interested in. And lately I've been getting ones for what I presume are designer clothing brands. Generally because it's a name I've never heard of, and it's usually just some twiglet shaped people wearing clothes. And there's usually a QR code and maybe a website. So, well, if you can't actually be bothered to tell me what you're advertising, why would you expect me to be bothered to go to your website to look at it? Tell me what it is. Tell me what it does. Tell me how much it costs. Tell me why it's better than the other person's one. That's how an advert works. Not just some crashing waves and someone looking manly in the surf, and then a name. That means nothing. What's that? Jeans, flip flops, hair product, beard oil, wave suppressant. I don't know. You haven't told me. And stop making men's scents smell of weird stuff. Why can't we have deodorant and aftershave that smells of WD-40 and used engine oil? Proper manly smells. Stale farts and PO. Want to smell like a real man? Rub a stink bomb under your pits. Yeah. It's like it's the same with female fragrances. You can always tell the age market they're actually aimed at. If there's Lily of the Valley involved, it's for people that are going to die soon. Go natural scents, never wear cologne, so just natural soap and natural deodorant. Yep, I just use bog standard soap and maybe a bit of de-stench in hot weather. If I haven't had an opportunity to have a bath or a good scrub. Perfume makes me see red, smells make my head spin. Well, I mean, obviously I can't smell it. It will still hit the back of my throat and take my breath away, not in a good way. And then if you kiss someone, let's say on the neck, and they're wearing perfume, oh, it tastes horrible. Much better if I got lip balm on and it's got some weird fruity flavour to it, you know. Yeah. Mary's got a lip balm that's watermelon and something else. I can't. Watermelon and strawberry, I think. And she now only wears that when she's not going to see me. Because I was like, yeah, what's that? Yeah, that tastes horrible. I mean, I weren't quite that bad, but yeah. I made it fairly obvious I didn't approve of the taste because I don't eat fruit. What's wrong with bacon fat? I mean, if I kiss you and it tastes of bacon, I'm going to want to kiss you more. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact of life. Bacon is better than watermelon and strawberry. Now, the new Sharpe's perfume made at WD-40 steel shavings. 4 out of 5 easy rates. 1999. 320 Scots. Bacon fat and smoke should be males. Yeah, you know, something that actually smells like manly and masculine. Doesn't smell like a teenage boy's bedroom or a Games Workshop store. If you've never been in a Games Workshop store with a working sense of smell, congratulations, don't go in one. I make the joke because Rain has been in a Games Workshop store. They tend to be full of sweaty teenage boys. Oh no, it's worse than a men's locker room. At least, I mean, I can't smell it, but when I walk into a store and it takes my breath away with the stench, and I've had no sense of smell, you know it's bad. It's like, you know what? You could actually smoke in here and no one would probably notice. You wouldn't be able to smell it. Yeah. especially in the school summer holidays when it's hot and it's constantly full of sweaty, spotty teenage boys who have accidents in their pants the second a female walks in. Actually, my local Games Workshop store at one point did have a female employee, and she was quite attractive. She didn't last very long because literally, I think every one of the teenage boys was trying to get in her pants. She was married, probably old enough to be their mother. That didn't stop them. You have boobs and you like games. You like Warhammer. You have boobs. I need to go to the toilet. Yeah. Yeah. And I imagine model train shops to smell of slippers and pipe smoke. You can kind of get like, especially like more big chain stores like or whatever, like more sort of niche stores that sell, like a Games Workshop or a model train store or a fish shop, or they all kind of have their own specific sort of sense, I would guess. One's probably going to smell a black carpet. And Pleco poop. Oh, sorry, that's my house. But yeah, that's one of the things. You go into a more niche store, an art supply store, whatever you want to call it. There's always a certain vibe to those kind of shops, and they're all similar. It's always because they attract employees, or hopefully the managers and owners have employed employees that are interested in what they're actually selling and have a clue what they're selling. Having someone with no knowledge of paint or paintbrushes would probably not be a good idea to have in an art supply store. Pardon me. Same as having someone with no sense of smell wouldn't be a good idea in a perfume store. Oh, pardon me. Oh, still going. Oh dear. Yeah. I wonder what the weirdest smelling store would be. Shop, whichever you want to call it. It'd probably be a combination. One of those, like we have garden centres in the UK, tractor supply, what you want to call it in the States. So it's basically a nursery where they sell plants, shrubs, garden related products, so paving slabs, gravel, rocks, trees, all that kind of stuff. Garden tools. And then there'll be a pet section where there's usually some fish tanks, some random food for various different creatures and stuff like that. Then there'll be like handmade jams, and there'll be a food section, a clothing section. Everything's overpriced for what it is. And yeah, so I mean, that'd be a combination of everything. I mean, generally they're my nightmare. I enjoy going around a garden centre looking at the pretty plants and then going to the fishy section and possibly buying some more fish or plants or whatever. But walking through a garden centre, especially in the summer, which is when you tend to go, and everything's in flower, oh boy, do I know about it. Usually a couple of hours later when I can't see, want to claw my own eyeballs out, and I can't breathe either. I'm going to shut that door. Sorry, in the correct parlance, shut that door. And if you're not British of a certain age, you won't get that reference. So I won't even bother trying to explain it. Ugh. Sorry, Sam, I'm locking you out. I'm drawing the curtains so you can't see what I get up to. And actually, I need the loo. Back in a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. If you got anything you want to chat about, stick it in the chat now. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Back in a minute. Hello, Dave. Oh, there we go. That's better. Oh, we're still at the men's locker room. Yep. Happy what I needed a wee. Where shall I place my new fresh water tank in my 3-row rack? Bottom will be a sump. Depends what you're putting in it. Because if you put it above, then if there's an accident, you end up with fresh water in the salt water tank. Or the salt water tank's below it. And if you put the salt water tank above, and you get the opposite problem. It all depends. I would run that on probably discus. If you're going to go with discus, big school of rainbow shiners and barbs. I'd go for the big school of rainbow shiners or barbs, personally. Yeah, I would think of it like this. I would think of it, which tank am I more willing to lose what's in it? Admittedly, if something goes wrong with you get salt water in a freshwater tank, it's a lot easier to quickly fill a bucket with fresh water and then move the fish into that, or bucket or whatever, than it would be to have to make up a bunch of salt water and do that. So I'd probably put the fresh water on the middle shelf, and if you can have salt water on the top shelf or top row, that's probably the way I'd do it. But then if you're running a sump, you probably, I'm going to guess the sump is going to, yeah. Unless this is 2-part sump and you can run 2 separate water sources. I could get very bottom one with salt water. Yeah, I'd probably put the fresh water at the top in that case, so that you're not pumping the salt water any higher than you need to. So obviously, the higher the head height, the less flow you get, or the less water movement, because it's harder work to push water uphill further. So yeah, I'd from that point I would go sump, salt, fresh. Because if you get fresh water in a saltwater tank, it's just going to drop the salinity, isn't it? So that's going to be fairly easy to fix. Just add more salt and use your little gaugey thing, hygrometer, specific gravity thingamajiggy, one of them, whichever is your preferred option. You know, like some people like to get all posh and have digital thermometers on their tanks, and then because digital is better. And then some of us go, yeah, I'll just have a glass one with a bit of alcohol in it that doesn't have problems with ever going out of calibration. The batteries never die because it hasn't got any. There are no moving parts. You've got a second marine set up anyway, yeah. Most fresh can handle more salt than what the interweb states. That they certainly can. But I'll add the addendum to that, that much like minimum tank sizes or nitrate levels or any of the other things that the internet states, a lot of the time there will be a fairly sizable safety margin built into that. As we all know, if you have a bristlenose pleco, it needs to go in a 20-gallon or 80-litre tank at the minimum. Yeah, we've got mollies in marine. Yeah, well, mollies can go full salt. Yeah, I don't know if Bob's still got mollies in his salt tanks, but he used to. Yeah, like people say, oh, you can only keep one bristlenose pleco in a 20-gallon tank, and then you need a sump or a canister because of the mess. And I'm like, well, I breed them at 15, and like that one, that one, that one, and that one, I've got 100 bristlenoses in. They're 28-litre tanks, and they're running off of Fluval U1s and tiny little sponge filters. Well, I try to give actual answers, or at least I try to work through my reasoning as to why I've come up with the answer. Right. It's like the inch per gallon rule. We're all familiar with it. We've all heard it. We've all had it quoted at us 8 million times. Well, they're 28-litre tanks, which is what? 7 gallon. Those bristlenose plecos can be up to an inch long before they come out of there, and they'll be well over 100. I'm working in feet per gallon. Most people are afraid to be FNA, so the same answer that everyone does, which is either never an answer or they're just parroting something back that they've been told. They've not sat and thought about it. It's just, this is the fact I have been told, therefore this is the fact. I've not thought about, okay, so-and-so says this. Let me think about that. Let me get a couple of other 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 20 different people's views on it. So smush all those views together and then go, all right, what makes the most sense? How can I? And then you go, and you pick out the bits and you go, oh, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. My general basic knowledge of how science and the nitrogen cycle works means that makes absolutely no sense. That is clearly just marketing. And then I come up with the way I do things. And it seems to work. Yeah. I mean, there are many times I've had people say to me, literally, well, artificial, well, Corey says this. Yep. Yep. In one case, they got a business and a name to worry about. Yeah, let's just go with Corey on this, because if I meant, yeah, I wasn't going to get myself in trouble again. And I'm, much as I've only had very limited dealings with Corey from the coop, he seems a sensible and thoughtful person to me. I'm sure he wouldn't get upset with what I'm going to say. He's got a successful business that he needs to look after. So what he says is always going to be couched in not doing something that could be potentially bad for his business. I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong. I'm saying I bear that in mind when I might listen to what Corey is saying about a certain subject. When Pond Guru puts out another video about how awesome and amazing Ted Biomedia is, I go, skip. Because he makes his money from selling biomedia of a certain brand. And he will tell you to your face that having this biomedia means you will have more bacteria in your tank and your tank will be better. Fine, except you're telling people to put the biomedia, which is supposed to reduce the nitrate levels, which using nitrosammonia bacteria, which like a low flow and very low oxygenation, right? That's what they need. They need very low flow and low oxygenation to do their job. But you were telling people to get that effect that they have to put them in basically the highest flow, most oxygenated part of the system. And then you're also telling them that they'll have more bacteria. Well, sorry, but the tank will only grow a bacterial colony big enough to deal with the ammonia, nitrate, etc. that is produced in that tank. If you have a higher bioload, then you'll have a bigger bacteria colony. I've not done the experiment, but I'm pretty sure if you had a heavily planted 5-gallon tank and you put a better in there, you would never see ammonia, you would never see nitrite, and you'd never see nitrate. That's not because the cycle or the media is doing something. It's because the plants are taking it all up before bacteria has a chance to do anything. There's probably not a nitrogen cycle in that tank. The plants are taking all the stuff straight out of the water. Anyway, that's me rambling and ranting about filter media again. Oh dear. One of these days. One of these days, me and a media producer are going to end up on either the same live stream, same podcast, Or even more hilarious, they might try and sponsor me. Hey, we notice you don't use biomedia. Would you like to be sponsored and use our XYZ brand? You've clearly not watched many videos. What do you mean? Yeah, I don't use biomedia. But if you use it, no. Like I've said before, I swear the whole ceramic biomedia, whatever you want to call it, all came about out of a way to make money, to sell people something to go in the bottom of their box filter to stop it floating, rather than just using pea gravel. Now, if we're talking a moving bed or a fluidized bed filter, the K1 media and that the plastic stuff floats and tumbles about. Now that's a different thing altogether. But that is a purely biological filter. That is not a mechanical filter. Told the Queen of DUI he has to get at least 100 Congo tetras because he only keeps them for a few months. Ooh. Have you been blocked yet? The oldest daughter just stated the son has testicular autism because he doesn't know when to grow balls or not. That sounds like she's got quite a pair. Because Joey don't know what he's doing, yes. I suppose if I was going to start beef with anyone, it would be Joey. That would probably be quite easy to do. Can't do anything to me. I'll say it. Yeah, what's he going to do to me? Some pissant little channel in the UK that gets hardly any views. He'd probably never even be aware. I could do an entire video debunking him and going on about whatever, and he'd probably never even become aware of it. He says, as a letter from Joey's lawyers turns up in the post, cease and desist order. Prove it. I mean, I do to an extent understand with Joey or MD or the other channels that have like a studio and keep creating content. You got to keep doing new tanks, and you can only have a certain amount of tanks. So you have to basically you get to the end and you start redoing them again with a different idea and different fish or whatever. I do get that. I mean, I'm not up for it. I don't think that's a good thing, but mainly on Rumble now and he's the size of a child. I'm scared of Napoleon syndrome. Well, no, I'm a Brit. We ain't scared of no Frenchman. Look what we did the last couple of times when Napoleon kicked off. There was a very big war. One of them, most of them lasting several years, basically bankrupting France. And that's why we had the largest navy on the planet at that point. Quite a few boats or ships. Our navy was strong enough to take on the next two biggest navies, France and Spain, and all the other little navies around the world that might decide they want to try and take over some of our colonies, and also to stop the slave trade from Africa. That was just the British Royal Navy. It was big enough to do all that at once. Yeah, and now what are we down to? About 3 frigates and an aircraft carrier. But that's not a bad thing. It saves us a fortune as a country. And now America does it all, so we don't have to worry about it. Oh, you want to build another aircraft carrier? Okay, that's okay. We'll just decommission this one because we ain't going to need it anymore then. Save ourselves a few million every year. Yeah, so I don't try and start beefs. I will try to have a sensible debate and discussion with someone. And if we have completely conflicting viewpoints and neither of us are willing to budge, I just ignore them. Don't watch them. It's quite simple. Some startup, yeah. I've been kicked off my own birthday stream because a bigger YouTuber showed up, and the person I was streaming with, whose birthday it was too, wanted to be able to speak to them over me. Yeah, people suck, and I don't stream with them ever again. Well, if I ever do figure out or can be bothered to figure out the Streamlabs, whatever thing is, then I would invite you to me. Although I think that might break the internet if you and I sat here talking for 2 hours. Garcia kicked me off of his and my birthday stream because Joey showed up and told everyone he was kicking us off so that Joey could speak. F that. Yeah, exactly. F that. If I had been watching and had HMS Craptop fired up, that would have been the time that I would have fired up a stream entitled Tommy's Birthday Stream V 2.0. Yeah, I think YouTube might break if we did. I think, to be honest, I think any platform would probably break, even Twitch. It'd probably have to be on OnlyFans, and then they would probably get upset with us. Yeah, didn't appreciate it and made it clear. Exactly. I mean, okay, this big YouTuber, he's got a million subs or whatever he had, or whatever, but that doesn't make him any better than anyone else, or what he's got to say any more valid. That was probably more valid than most of what Joey has to say. And yes, I am back on the regular cola by Sainsbury's. Yeah, it's just didn't even have anything to say. It's just drunk and rambling. Well, drunk and rambling. And why do we think I call him the Queen of DUI? Mind you, I also had the joke with Scott and Liz, King and Queen Cichlids fame. Don't even know if I think they stopped doing fish tubey stuff. Then I think they started again. I can't remember. But I always used to joke that it was two queens. Oh yeah, I always refer to him as the King or Queen of DUI. People mishear it, and I think I've said DIY because that's what they expect to hear. Even worse when customers want to change a whole tank every few months because a YouTuber changes. And yeah, feel free to thieve it. I don't claim copyright on anything usually. Most of the time, because no one wants to copy what I do. Usually anything I say or do is best avoided. Basically, what I need for my streams is a t-shirt that just reads, disclaimer, don't believe any of this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The big act, the scapists, as I call them, which does upset some of them. But yeah, look how amazing and pretty this is. Pardon me. Next week, here's the same tank. Look how amazing and pretty this tank is. Hang on. That tank's the same tank as last week. You just moved everything around in it, taken everything out that was in there and put new stuff in. And you know how you can tell it's not been running for long or has had a massive clean, which has probably destroyed whatever nitrogen cycle was going. It's because everything is spotless. I've got the glass lily pipes in there and there's not a sign of anything green in them. The substrate is perfectly level. All the plants are the exact same height or the perfect shape. I'm like, yeah, dude, stick some bristle noses in there and then leave it a month and film it. Fish tanks should be left alone. Massive loads of help come in. Some people need to get their hands in there and mess with it as much as possible. Yeah, they literally are just built for photo shoots. The most I do if I'm going to film my tanks or a specific tank, literally the most I might do is clean the glass just at the front, unless I'm going to be, I need to get around the side of the tank. So let's say I was filming my shell dweller tank and I will point the camera at the shell dweller tank so you can see exactly what I mean. Right? I would clean the water spots off the glass. I would scrape the algae off the inside at the front. Not because I think it's dirty, but because then the camera sees better into the tank, it focuses better. And because I'd probably want to come around this side, I'd clean and scrape this side as well. But I'd leave that wall of algae on the back. Yeah, it might look a bit unsightly, but it's, how can I put it? What nitrates the denitrophone bacteria that are down there that you can actually see, bacterial colonies, the nitrates that they don't eat, the algae eats. That's literally all I'd do, and then I'd film the tank. And most of that is just so that people can see into the tank better and that the camera will actually focus. Hang on, I figured something out the other week. Yeah, there we go, we got it. I see absolutely extraordinary tanks with every detail I thought about. Is it obvious why I'm single? I can't. Oh, God. Yeah. Why am I always broke? Oh yeah, I spent $300 on glass tubing for neon tetras. Clean the glass twice a month. Don't try to touch your tanks. Yeah, I mean, different tanks get different treatments for me. So yeah, the shellies, every once in a while, when I can't see through the glass, I'll scrape the algae off. Single-sided razor blade window scraper. I need to change the blade because that one's rather rusty. Same with that one, because it does get green spot algae on the front, which I did actually scrape off this week. The shrimp tank, if I'm going to film that little shrimp tank down there, I'll scrape the front glass, but I'll leave the rest of the algae growing in there because the shrimp love it. The rest of the tanks I don't get algae in, weirdly. Probably because there's a lot of plants, not a lot of light. And usually quite a few snails and bristlenoses. These ones obviously get more cleaning because there's up to 150 bristlenoses in there, which produce a lot of poop. And they're supposed to be bare bottom tanks, and when you've got half an inch of substrate in there, you need to get rid of it because it ain't substrate. So yeah, I was getting there with a turkey baster and suck a bunch of poop out the bottom, and that's about it. Other than that, it's water changes every week and filter cleans every week. But when I say filter clean, I mean pull the sponges out and give them a squish out in a bucket of water and then put them back again. Need bristlenoses from marine. I wonder. I mean, the common Ancistrus is relatively bomb-proof. Right? How some people manage to kill them, I don't know. And I know they can handle pH of up to 8.2. It's just the salinity I'm not sure about. But possibly, if you started them out in tap water, it's fresh, and then gradually increase the salinity over time, I think you certainly get them up to brackish. Whether you get them full salt, I don't know. But that would freak people out. Here's my coral, here's my anemone, here's my lovely pretty little clownfish. Oh, there's my bristlenose pleco. I mean, there's plenty of wood in the ocean. I mean, all that driftwood on the beach has to come from somewhere. Yeah, and there are parts of ocean which have got sunk medieval forests in there where the water levels have risen. Also thought African peacocks, they should be able to. Yeah, Rift Lake cichlids definitely would be able to take. I would have. Oh, do not quote me on this as being scientifically correct. Animal husbandry. Disclaimer: Sharpe is just thinking out loud here. Yeah, the pH is okay. It's just whether they can handle the salinity, whether their gills can cope with it. Gills and internal organs. But again, it's one of those things where if you acclimate them slowly, and when I say slowly, I'm talking over months or maybe years, maybe even generations. Start out freshwater, breed some, keep a few aside in freshwater, and then maybe move something that's very slightly more saline, and then gradually increase the salinity in that. So you still got your breeding pair and some offspring. See how far they go before you start noticing problems. Then dial it back till they're happy. Well, surviving. maybe not thriving, but surviving in it. Then get a pair out of those young, breed them, and then put their young into a more salty tank, and then gradually, you might. That would really throw people. Can you imagine that? Bristlenose plecos and African riftwake cichlids in a saltwater tank. There you go. Tommy's been a member for 12 months now. Yeah, maybe that's something I might need to look at. You did catch the renew in time. Woohoo! Yeah, enough of breeding and raisers. Yeah. Checking if there's a gap. There wasn't. Well done. Although you'd probably end up with no macroalgae or anything in the saltwater tank if you stuck bristlenoses in there. They would probably eat it all. So you'd need a refugium that the bristlenoses couldn't get into, which is harder said than done, because they will climb out of tanks. Trust me on that. I don't mean they will jump, I mean they will climb up out of the water and move. Much like nerite snails will. I know that because I found them feet away from the tank they were in. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. So my presumption would it wouldn't be evolution as such, but yeah, if you bred them in slightly more and more salty conditions, it'd be like if they were a riverine species and they were expanding and gradually getting nearer and nearer the estuary of the river, so the water's getting more and more saline. When the tide comes in, they got pure salt. When the tide goes out, they got brackish or fresh. Oh, I've fired up an experiment in your brain now, haven't I? Oh, jeez. If you get it to work, please name them Sharpie or Bristlenose Sharpie Eye or something. Ancistrus Sharpie Eye. Never heard of them. What are they? Oh, they're saltwater bristlenoses. Plecos don't live in the sea. These ones do. Oh, cool. Can you imagine the environmental impact they got out? Oh, geez, that'd be a nightmare. Bristlenose plecos in the Sargasso Sea. Oh, they would destroy the kelp forests. The water would go brown with the amount of poop in it. If it works, I have to get a marine tank. How, if it works, I may well do. Sharpie's all freshwater marine tank. Oh boy, that'd be weird. Might actually get some views though. How to confuse, upset, and boggle people's minds in one easy video. And it'd be if I did it stealth like, sneaky, not tell people. And just do an all tanks update video like I do every once in a while. Now here's how this tank's getting on, here's how this tank's getting on. I'm waving the camera about. I've made a few changes to this one. As you can see, we've got corals, we've got anemones, got little starfishy things. Right, and down here in the sand we have some shell dwellers. And these are mollies, and how I keep control of the algae. If I just go around here, look in that cave down there, there's a bristle nose. Oh, that would upset people so much. That would be hilarious. Oh, why do I want to do it? I want to do it so much I've run over by a quarter of an hour. Oh, yeah, that'd be funny. I mean, seahorses, at least in the UK, do live around seaweed. So if you got some seaweed in there, that might look a bit freshy. Anyway, I've overrun my time, so I'm probably running into somebody else's time. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for being a bunch of absolute nutters. I love you all. Have a great week. Stay safe. Peace out. Rock on.
Bye bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Fresh marine do 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 do. Fresh marine do 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 do. Fresh marine do 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 do. Arr.